So let's take a walk around the garden. It's 5 acres in total, and it's a flower ranger's garden, not at its best at any one given time. There's always something to see. The wisteria on the side of the conservatory is going to be quite fabulous. I hope we don't have any frost to burn the flowers. It's overcast today, slightly raining. We're lucky, the first full day of rain. We haven't had any rain for 4 weeks, and we really need it. So we've got a collection here of plants with different leaves. We've got the Arum misjaneho, and the variegated leaves of the Amaracea rusticana variegata, or the variegated horseradish. Not invasive like the green one, quite well behaved. Then we've got the contrasting spiky finger-like leaves of the Helleborus foetidus, and the glaucous leaves of the hosta coming through. The peonies here, this is the first one, heavily in bud. They're still to burst, and we need the sunshine to come through to make them really burst. It's a single pink variety. We have the Spanish bluebells starting to flower. They're Hyacinthoides hispanica is the name, and the variegated leaves of the Pustanum daphnis and umbellifera. I want to show you this. This is an herbaceous clematis recta, and it has this wonderful dusky grey sheen on it at the minute. This grows to about 4 foot tall, and it blossoms out into big frothy stems of white flowers. The rhododendron, that's been quite stunning. Starting to go over, that's the earliest one, and the Skimmia Q green has turned from its green to a cream now on its flowers. So we'll turn around. So the lawn looks as if it's been snowing, doesn't it? But actually that's the petals of the last of the prunus to flower in the garden, Prunus canzan, and it still is gorgeous. Slightly windy, so it's blowing all the little petals, and the leaves are just coming to start into unfurl of the hazel, the purple hazel, red majestic, Corylus avellana contorta, red majestic. It's on its own rootstock, so you don't get any of the species, which mainly the green ones grafted onto. Some of the blue Camassia, and we'll take a walk through. Here's the Cherophyllum, Hirsutum roseum, or the May pink cow parsley. There is another one called pink cow parsley, which comes a bit later. And the frothy, lovely flowers of the Smilacina. I wanted to show you down here another arum called chameleon, and it's actually the largest leaf arum that I grow. I think that is absolutely lovely. Big, large leaves. Arum chameleon. So of course the garden is getting more fuller now. things are starting to come. It's mainly an herbaceous perennial garden. We've got some of the brunnera, the little blue flowers, and the honesty in the purple lunaria. I wanted to show you this one. This is the variegated honesty. I'll be saving some seeds of that later on. The ulex, or the gorse, the common gorse, is in full flower. That smells of coconut. And here it's April. Come to the end of April, and it's apple blossom time. Of course, the lambs are enjoying themselves. Our garden is south facing, and we're lucky that we're able to grow some things in the county that we normally can't. And this is an Aristolchia, or a Dutchman's pipe. These are the flowers. They come before the leaves fully elongate into lime green. And they originate from Asia, and I think maybe because of the way they're throated, that hummingbirds go into them to collect the nectar. I may be wrong, but this is Aristolchia manchuriensis, so it comes from the region which is near China, Manchuria. Looking through the apple blossom. These smaller apple trees, the bigger ones were here when we first came 19 years ago. I got these from a well-known supermarket for £1.99 each. They were unlabelled, and Malice, the apple family, do very well here. We're on slightly heavy, sandy soil. So our main garden we created from a plantation field which goes up into there, but we'll walk through here to the left. So I wanted to show you something really lovely. You can't see it, it's hidden, and it's a little mousetail flower. Now we have got to push the leaves. And there we are. There's the lovely, I'll pick one. It's Arisarum. Knocked the tail off. Try that. There we are. There we are. Get it into focus, David. Arisarum. Presidium, I think. I didn't do Latin at school. I think I've got the label here. There we are. Proboscidium. I did French at school instead of Latin. That's a little mousetail. A woodland plant. Reputedly slightly invasive, but it just doesn't spread a great deal with us. And the purple leaves here are the Anthriscus sylvestris raven's wing, and we let things self-seed. This is the corkscrew Gratiegus, or the twisted hawthorn. Look at all the twists on the stems. Lovely to use in floral art. And the little mousetail actually is good to use in small scale design. In some countries, classification is miniatures and petites. Because one of the other things, I've been involved with flowers all my life, with my parents running a market garden in the south of the county here in Cumbria, and they grew cut flowers for a living, and we took them straight to market from where we grew them, and they stood Keswick Market for 54 years, and we used to sell tons of bunches and bunches. So now I'm a flower demonstrator for NAFAS, the National Association of Floral Arrangement Societies. Here's a couple of our horses. That's Melissa, she's a little mare. That's Monty. Edera Helix Buttercup, growing up a great oak tree. We have 5 oaks here, and they're all different. They're all different. Some Walkermacia with a rhododendron behind, and in the middle here is the perennial honesty, Lunaria ridiva, and that has a different seed head on it, which is slightly pendulous. Last of the ribes, this is Ribes aureum, that's the last to flower, and then the contorted larch, larix. We usually have the ducks, oh here they are, they're usually on the pond. We've got 9. That's the male, he's protecting the female. They're lovely, they're Aylesbury ducks. The others, I don't know where they're at, but I think some are nesting, and one of these days we'll find 15 little ducklings following on from the mother coming through. The cream magnolia. I wanted to show you up here another Smilacina, a miniature Smilacina, which is Smilacina stellata, or stellata meaning star. This spreads a little bit, and of course great, you can see the wind now getting up, and it's getting slightly cool as well, I have to say. We have a railway cutting, or railway siding as I like to call it, which is abandoned, and when we came it was just, well, full of weeds really. And that's where the platform used to be to collect the sandstone from the woods, and then we got a JCB digger to dig it out, and in another video I'll start from this bridge and we will walk through. There's the Pilliganatum, or the Solomon's seal. Lovely to hear the birdsong as well, isn't it? And I love this time of year with the ferns starting to unfurl and the hostas coming through. The first hosta leaves is one here called Sagae, S-A-G-A-E, hosta Sagae or Sagae. And the pendulous Pseudophyllum. And the Euphorbia, lovely red Euphorbia. This is Griffithii, Great Dixter, the one named after that wonderful garden in Sussex with the late Christopher Lloyd, who wrote a lot of fabulous books. So we're quite relaxed really in our planting here. We like to let things self-seed, so we do manage things if they become a little bit too invasive, such as the blue alkanet here, which can seed quite prolifically, and if you're bit unlucky, it can seed right next to a special plant, and because it's so vigorous, it can actually slightly overshadow. Is another form of variegated honesty with slightly lilac flowers rather than the purple. But I wanted to show you some of our proper bluebells, the English bluebells, instead of the Spanish ones. These all flower on, like they nod down onto one side. This is Hyacinthoides non-scripta. And they're the ones, they're not all around the flower stem like the Spanish ones, the Hispanica, and they flower on the one side. You can't dig them up from the wild, they're protected now. It's one thing you can't do. So the rain's coming in quite heavy now. Sometimes it's nice if I shut up, really, isn't it, and just take you on a little tour. The clematis is looking really nice, the spring one. This is called White Swan, and lovely pendulous stems that hang down. The lily of the valley, Convallaria, that's all starting to come into flower. That's my late mum's favourite flower. We've got about 3 varieties of the lily of the valley. There's another hosta, early, not as early as Sagai. This one is called Liberty. Quite a bright star in the garden. And here's another one. This is Niagara Falls. I haven't even counted how many hostas. Of course, flower ranges, I think hostas are one of the favourites of everybody. Tulips struggle here. We've planted them for years and years, and they end up splitting, do the bulbs. The soil is really way too heavy for them. And we have a lot of voles as well, and they tend to like to actually eat them. So I think the rain is getting a little bit too heavy now, but I'd like to finish off this little walkthrough. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, to be in England now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs and brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough. In England now, and after April, when May follows, and the whitethroat builds, and all the swallows, hark, where my blossomed pear tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops at the bent spray's edge. That's the wise thrush, he sings each song twice over, lest you should think he could never recapture the first fine careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hairy dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower. See you soon.